The west side of Lansing versus the east side of Lansing. Which one reigns supreme? Well, we're gonna find that out here in this next episode. I'm gonna be talking about the pros and cons of either side, two different cultures within the greater Lansing, Michigan area. So sit back, relax, because I'm gonna start this next episode of Lansing, Michigan Life right now. Hey everybody, Troy Seifert here with the Capital Area Real Estate Specialist in the greater Lansing, Michigan area. I'm a top producing realtor in the greater Lansing, Michigan area, and I get phone calls all the time from people who are just like you watching this channel, people who are looking to move here from across the country, even around the world. And if that's you and you're watching this channel, you've come to the right place because I have a huge library of videos for you to be able to find out anything that you want about the greater Lansing, Michigan area. In fact, we are the fastest growing YouTube channel of everything greater Lansing. And if you're looking to move here in 9 days, 90 days, or 9 months from now, feel free to contact me anytime. My contact information is in the description below, so feel free to call me, text me, email me, or schedule a Zoom call with me. I would love to be able to talk with you face to face about what you are looking for in a house. Also, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel and like the video if you like the content of what I'm talking about here, which again, I feel is very relevant to our area of greater Lansing because it is a little bit of a rivalry here that we have. It's the west side. I don't know if I'm doing the right direction. It's the west side versus the east side. Okay, so this is west for me if I'm looking here. So hopefully it's showing up right on camera. West side versus the east side of town. And yes, they are kind of two totally different cultures. They really are, because there's different things that people like, different things that people enjoy. And if you're looking to make a move here, you've been hearing about all these different suburbs, especially if you've been following my channel, you've seen all the top 5 suburbs, and some of them are on the west side, some of them are on the east side, and they do have their pros and cons. So stay tuned until the very end again, because I'm going to be talking with you about what are the things that most people consider, and what are my personal views on all of this. I'm gonna kind of like summarize it all at the end, okay? So when I start talking about the eastern side of town, I might be also talking about the cons that go with living on the western side of town, okay? So definitely hear each and every point, because I'm gonna be talking more than likely about both sides as well in each point, okay? I'm gonna start with the eastern side. The east side, like I said before, it's not just East Lansing. It is Hazlet, it is Okemos, it is Williamston as well, okay? So I'm not just talking about one city, I'm talking about 4 different cities here, okay? So the first pro about living on the east side, especially if you've been watching my channel, I've talked about this several times, are that the schools rank better than the west side. So a site I talk about a lot is niche.com. Niche.com is a site that shows you all the different school systems and what their grade is, and they'll even give you reviews of the school system. Well, according to niche.com, for East Lansing, for Hazlet, and for Okemos, they range anywhere from an A- to an A+, which is a great rating for schools. In fact, Okemos, sometimes they are in the top 5 of all of Michigan schools. Williamston as well will have an A for their school rating. If I go to the west side, 2 school systems that are prevalent within the west side. One of them is Grand Ledge, and that school system has a B+ rating on niche.com. And then the other one is Waverly School District, and last time I looked, Waverly School District had a C+ rating on niche.com. So if you're looking for schools and you're looking for the school system that you feel like your kids, if you do have kids and you're watching this, that you feel like your kids would maybe have the best opportunity, then look to the eastern side of town for that. The number 2 pro of living on the eastern side of town is that they have more luxury properties. They have more luxury properties. Not saying that the west side doesn't have any luxury properties at all, but the eastern side, that's where you're gonna find the $1 million plus properties. If you're looking for something that's going to gain value over time and continue to appreciate over time, you're gonna find that more on the eastern side of town than you are on the western side of town of Lansing. So if you're really looking for that luxurious property and you want to have more options to be able to look at these luxurious properties, you will have more options on the eastern side than the west side. The third pro for living on the eastern side of town is that they have better shopping options. They definitely do. So the eastern side has Meridian Mall, and that's the better mall, the better indoor mall out of the two malls that we have. The west side has Lansing Mall. So if you compare those two shopping malls, Meridian Mall definitely is supreme. They also have Whole Foods. They also have Trader Joe's. West side does not have Whole Foods or Trader Joe's. They do have Costco, and west side has BJ's, which is an equivalent of Costco. It's a warehouse sort of place that's like Sam's Club or like Costco. I have memberships to both, and definitely Costco is way better than BJ's, just hands down, I gotta say. The one thing that west side has for shopping options that I have featured numerous times on the west side of town, and it is a landmark on the west side of town, is that the west side of town does have Horrocks. So it's not like the west side doesn't have any shopping options. I mean, the west side, they have a lot of retail options, but I feel like the eastern part of town, they're gonna have maybe some of the more luxury brands over there on the eastern side of town. They're gonna have more stores. They're just gonna have more options. They're gonna have, for groceries, they're gonna have more organic options for you as well. So for shopping, I definitely say that that's a huge pro. Although west side does, they definitely do have shopping options. It's not like they lack in that. I just feel the shopping options are better in the east side. Number 4 pro that east side has is that they have Michigan State University. Well, why is that so great? Because some people could see that as a con. And I'm gonna kind of address the cons of East Lansing coming up in another video, just strictly, it's all about the cons for East Lansing. And some people could see that, hey, East Lansing has Michigan State University, that's a bad thing because you're in a college town. There's college students everywhere. It's horrible. But the thing is that Michigan State on the eastern side of town, when you are over there, you kind of feel like it's a constant pep rally all the time. It just, like, everyone's wearing their green and white during fall football season, especially on the eastern part of town. They definitely are. Why? Because Michigan State is right there in the eastern part of town. They have the sports complexes like the Breslin Center and Munn Arena and Spartan Stadium. They have these huge sports arenas, and there's nowhere else in Greater Lansing where you can have a huge sports arena like that other than Jackson Field where the Lansing Lugnuts play. And that's in downtown Lansing. The west side really doesn't have any big time sports complexes that you can watch them. They have a lot of parks and lots of rec leagues, yes, but they don't have like the landmark place that you can go to look at professional type sports, okay? So Michigan State, having that on the eastern side of town, you also have museums, you have a planetarium. Having a university there definitely does bring and attract a lot of people. I'm not gonna lie with that. Number 5 pro of living in the eastern side of town is that also there's more diversity. So you're gonna see just a lot more diversity. And it's not just, when I say diversity, it is many different cultures all over the world. Because sometimes people say, oh, okay, well, is it mostly white or mostly African American? Those are the two races that people might see. But there's Asian, there's Indian, there is Korean, there's Japanese, there's just a lot of different cultures in the eastern side of town. So it's just nice to be able to have that diversity. And because of that, especially in downtown East Lansing, there's just a lot of diverse cuisine that you can have. They do have a Korean barbecue place. They have a no Thai restaurant place. No Thai, not like Thaiing, but like no Thai, Thai, like Thai food, okay? I just want to clarify that. They just have a lot more variety and a lot more international cuisine on the eastern side of town. Now, the western side of town, they have come a long way. They do have some Mediterranean food, and the diversity has picked up over on the west side of town, but for people who are trying to look to move to an area where there is more diversity, east side is the way to go. All right, so let me get to the west side. So the west side, one of the pros for being in the west side is that the west side has lower home values. Why is that a good thing? I mean, I guess that could maybe be a negative because, like, okay, isn't it good to have higher home values? So I guess I mean more for like the cost of living for homes. Cost of homes is less, which means you'd be able to afford more over on the west side of town. Now, as time has gone on, especially in the Grand Ledge area, that gap has shortened ever so slightly. It used to be like, Okemos and Hazlitt used to be here, and there just used to be a huge gap between east side and west side. And as time has gone on, more and more people are continuing to move to the west side, and that gap has definitely shortened. So I do feel that maybe in 10 years, will the home values look the same? Maybe, but there is about a $50,000 difference. If you live in Waverly School District, which is on the west side of town, and it's in Delta Charter Township as well, the home values are even less in that area. You're saving a good $150,000 off of your purchase price of your house. So if you're looking for something that's a little bit more affordable, west side of town would be the way to go. Number 2 positive about the west side. Now this has to do a little bit more with, I talked about shopping on the east side, right? So the west side though has more restaurant and entertainment options. They definitely do. I'm not saying that the east side doesn't have anything, but west side, definitely the main street on west side is Saginaw Highway. And there are just so many restaurants there. We've got like 3 or 4 steakhouses on the same road, like within like 2 miles of each other. There's an Olive Garden they just built. They are continuing to build more and more closer to Grand Ledge for sure. But then even closer to the Lansing Mall, you have Applebee's, Cheddar's, Chick-fil-A. You have other restaurants that are also within that vicinity. I feel the restaurant options in Okemos, they are, in my opinion, I feel they are definitely lacking more than they are on the west side of town. So maybe as time goes on, they'll continue to build more restaurants, but like on the eastern side of town, like in downtown East Lansing, they have some faster counter service places is what I like to call them, like where you can just walk up to a counter and order your food, and it's kind of like fast food, but you kind of sit down and enjoy it. I mean, they have several of those over there in downtown East Lansing, but in Okemos, right by the Meridian Mall, there's only really a Chili's and an Olive Garden and some local places further south in Okemos. So again, definitely more restaurant options. And for entertainment, they do have Zap Zone. They do have a Fun City indoor park with a huge ball pit. They have a miniature golf course. And really, like, between West Side and then DeWitt having a miniature golf course, those are the only 2. Okay, I take that back, because I had mentioned that over at Hawk Hollow, which is a golf course, they do have a miniature golf course over there too. But like for more of like a fun miniature golf course where there's landscaping and a waterfall, West Side has it. It also has go-karts on the outside as well too. It's just more, they call it Fun Time Entertainment Center on the west side. So in my opinion, I feel like West Side definitely does have the better entertainment options and the better dining options than the east side of town does. Number 3 with the west side is that I feel like they have easier access to all the highways in the greater Lansing area. So maybe you've seen my map tour, maybe you have not. But if you have not, the area of Lansing, the way that you had to look at it with the highways is almost like it's an E with a line straight down. And the different interstates that are within the greater Lansing area is 69, 96, 496, which is the bypass there that goes into downtown Lansing, and then 127 north goes north and south. That's the one that goes straight down over that E, okay? So lots of highway access within the greater Lansing, Michigan area. If you're on the west side of town, you are right where the connection is to where that E is, kind of like right in the middle to the left side of the west side of town. Like, you have access to all those highways. So wherever you want to go, if you want to go east, if you want to go north, if you want to go west, you will have access to all of those. If you live in the east side of town, the main one that you would have access to, or that you would be closest to, would be I-96. It would take you to Detroit. If you're far enough north on the eastern side of town, you might be in northern Hazlitt. That would take you to 69. But the thing like with the E, what it does is that 69 goes like this, and then 96 goes like this, and so they go further apart the further east you go. So when you're in the in-between, like especially on the east side of town, when you're in between those 2 interstates, that gap widens. So you might be a good 10, 15 minutes away from highway access depending on where you live on the eastern side of town. West side of town, again, easy access to all of those. So it helps you with your commute. And there are a lot of corporations that are on the west side of town, like auto owners like GM. East side of town has Michigan State University. They also have Jackson National Life Insurance Companies. There are corporations there, but I feel like you're looking to commute to a hospital. West side of town can get you there faster just by having the easy access to the interstates to be able to get to Sparrow, which is in downtown. You can take the bypass there. Same thing with McLaren. You would have easy highway access that way living on the west side of town. So if you are all about trying to have a fast commute or getting to anywhere in a fast amount of time, then definitely live on the west side of town because you'll have access to all of those highways. Number 4 reason for living in the west side of town is that there's more new construction opportunities, which means more room for growth. So Okemos, East Lansing, those areas are kind of closed off with being able to do much with new construction. You're not going to see a whole lot of it. Williamston and Hazlet might have a little bit more room to be able to grow, but on the west side of town, they are definitely starting to build more neighborhoods within the Grand Ledge, Michigan area. And more people are starting to look into west neighborhoods like Wind Trace, which is an Eastbrook neighborhood. And Eastbrook is doing a couple neighborhoods there and just has a lot more openings for new construction than the eastern side of town. Eastern side of town, again, like I said, I feel like the options are becoming less and less, and it is more expensive to build over there as well. I'm not saying there aren't options in the east side of town, but I feel like there's more new construction opportunities over on the western side of town, okay? So that could be up for debate. Some people might be like, well, what about this place and this place? Again, I didn't say there weren't any new construction opportunities at all on the east side. I just feel like there's more opportunity and there are more new construction sites over on the west side of town. And then number 5 reason why west side is better than east side is that they have a lower property tax millage and they have no income tax, which East Lansing does have an income tax. So you pay 1% of your income to the city of East Lansing if you live in the city of East Lansing. If you work in the city of East Lansing, you have to pay a 0.5%, even if you live outside of that. So living in Grand Ledge, living in Waverly, you do not have that. So that's a good thing. Unless you are part of Lansing City in Waverly, there is one little snippet there that if you live in Lansing City for your taxes in Waverly School District, you might have to pay that income tax, okay? So for all of you out there who are looking to maybe correct me, I did catch that, okay? But definitely lower property tax millage. When you are looking to buy a house for $400,000, this is the example I give every single time because it just helps you with the simple math. If you're looking for a $400,000 house anywhere in the greater Lansing, Michigan area, and you look on the east side of town, more than likely you are going to pay 50 to 55 mils, okay, on average. So if let's say you do 55 mils in a $400,000 house, what happens is that when they assess that house the next year, they will take half of that value, which would be $200,000, and they will also make that your taxable value. So that's, again, $200,000 and so you take the millage times the $200,000, and that's what your property taxes are going to be for the year. So if you're on the eastern side of town, look at anywhere from $10,000 to $12,000 for the year for your property taxes. Now over on the west side of town, your millage is going to look about 10 to 15 mils less. So you could be anywhere from 35 to 40 mils on the west side of town, depending on where you live. Some might be a little higher than that, some might be a little lower. So let's say worst case scenario, you're living in an area that has 40 or 41 mils, okay? And you buy a $400,000 house. Again, take half of the value, which is $200,000. That makes your taxable value of $200,000, times it by the millage rate, times the 40 mils, you come up with $8,000 the entire year. That would be closer to worst case scenario, but it could even be less than that, like maybe closer to 7,000. So you save a decent amount of cash each year on your property taxes if you do decide to move to the west side of town. So again, another pro over the east side that you will have to pay less in taxes. Okay, and like I promised you, I do want to talk about personal experience because there are people who are very pro East Lansing. There are also people who are very pro West Lansing. And I think for me, with living here in the area for about 17 years, I would say that I do prefer the west side of town to the east side of town, just because I feel like there's more opportunity for growth there still. They're building more things. They're building a Bass Pro Shops. They have Horrocks over there. Again, like the access to it, it's just so much easier. Now the traffic has gotten way worse over time since they've expanded more things over on the western part of town. But as far as home value goes, as far as like bang for your buck, I definitely feel like west side of town would be the place to be. And if you're looking strictly on budget, west side of town isn't a bad place. Grand Ledge Schools at a B+ average. You know, it's something where you have to look and do your research and see, why is it a B+? Like, why are they rating it like that, right? I mean, it's one site, niche.com, but other people might say Grand Ledge Schools are great. And my son went to Grand Ledge Schools for a couple of years and they were great. I had no complaints with Grand Ledge Schools when we were there. So I think what you have to evaluate, and this is the advice I give everybody who's looking for a home, is what are the things that are the biggest deal to you? And look at these and be like, what can I live without and what can I live with? Okay, and start making that list of what is more important to me. And I could kind of give you my perspective of like where I would be. But if you decide to live in the eastern part of the area because maybe your commute's better, maybe you want better schools, maybe you want a more luxurious house and you see there's a lot more options over there, that's totally fine. That's completely fine. But I also like to share my perspective with people as well too, because people always ask, so what do you think? What's your opinion? Okay, so there it is. So again, I thank you for watching my channel, and hopefully you're able to see the pros and cons of both sides. They're both great areas in the greater Lansing area. They're both honestly the most popular areas in our area. So hopefully you were able to come up with some good info and be able to think through what areas should I concentrate on when I might potentially move here. And if you are potentially looking to move here, again, reach out to me. All my contact info is in the description below. Call me, text me, email me, or schedule a Zoom call with me. And if you liked what you saw, like this video or subscribe to my channel so that you can be notified when a new episode of Lansing, Michigan Life goes live. So hey folks, we are done. Again, thank you for watching, and until next time, take care and make it a great day.